Welcome to CyberBytes, the podcast, BlackHat edition. I followed today's guest since they were a 15-person startup based out of a shipping container, and it's amazing to see what they've achieved by carving out their new category, People-Centric Cyber Resilience. Having recently become part of the Cyber Millions initiative by the White House, I'm thrilled to welcome James Hadley, CEO and founder of Immersive Labs. I'm Oliver Legg, co-founder of Aspiron Search. Enjoy the show. Absolute pleasure to have James Hadley, the CEO and founder of Immersive Labs. How are things, buddy?
Good, thank you for having me.
No, pleasure. We've followed your story since the very beginning, 2017, when Joe and I were UK focused, UK based. I think you probably won't remember, but getting accosted by us on cold calls until we eventually gave up. But you've had a fantastic story. So yeah, if you could give a quick intro into kind of you and what you've managed to do with Immersive Labs so far.
Yeah, of course. So I'm James Hadley, the founder and CEO of Immersive Labs, and we built a software platform that helps large enterprises measure and prove the capability of their teams across the organisation relevant to their role, so they can have confidence around their cyber workforce resilience, and they can prove that to third parties, but also benchmark it to their industry peers. We're headquartered in Bristol in the UK and Boston in the US, where predominantly our go-to-market teams are. And we also have teams in the DACH region and also Middle East and Africa.
Yeah, fantastic. And I mean, in terms of cybersecurity success stories out of Bristol, you've got to be at the very top.
I'm not sure about that, but yeah, we've been very fortunate that we had product market fit quite quickly. We were very fortunate to get Goldman Sachs as an early customer of ours, who then subsequently led our Series A investment. And from there, we've been growing sort of year on year from 2018 onwards.
Yeah, awesome. And Series C at the moment?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, Series C, we did Series C plus round back July last year in 2022.
Yeah, awesome. And am I right in saying that it all kind of stemmed out of your time at GCHQ? Was that?
Yeah, so my early career was GCHQ and then working in other defence organisations. Prior to starting Immersive Labs, I was an instructor on the GCHQ Cyber School, and the purpose of that cyber school was to try and upskill talent, over a 10-week period. And it was during that time I recognised that academic background had little to no bearing or influence on how people did. And actually it came down to analytical thinking, problem solving, troubleshooting, perseverance, self-research and curiosity. So the other thing I identified at that time is you can't measure or prove the skills of someone that sat in a room, watched a video, completed an e-learning course, completed a multiple choice exam. It doesn't tell me, or if something happens tomorrow, who can I rely on my team to help remediate a threat? So it's during that time that I came up with the concept is, rather than training people, what if we put them into exercises and simulations, both for technical and business users, so we can actually prove what they do in a given scenario and then measure their capability. And if we can measure it, we can then identify talent and we can understand what our gaps are.
Gotcha. And so who's it targeted at in organisations? Is it targeted at the security team, or it's targeted at the entire non-technical workforce?
So now we cover the entire workforce relevant to their role. So a one-size-fits-all doesn't work. So what we do is we exercise teams relevant to their role. So that could be the cybersecurity team with hands-on cyber ranges. It could be developers, where we put them into real IDEs, where they have to fix and remediate vulnerable code. We do it for cloud engineers. We even do it all the way for board members, who can treat them through business exercising as like a digital tabletop product. And that helps us identify what decisions they'd make, levels of confidence in a given cyber crisis. And the whole concept is really that we make cyber routine, that everyone has all of the skills kept up to date with the latest threats. So actually the likelihood of incident is low. But even if an incident does happen, no drama. They've got this, and that's because they've run through hundreds of exercises and simulations in the past. So no more drama. Taking the drama out of cybersecurity.
Yeah, awesome. And what's the pitch in terms of actually getting companies to get their employees to do this? Because I can imagine that's one of the bigger challenges as well, is making sure they use and execute the product.
Yeah, so we work with large enterprises, and we kind of come up with a shared programmatic approach. And what we mean by that is, how are we going to engage the workforce and embed it in existing processes? Otherwise, if it sits off to the side, the value won't be there. So this is coming up with a regime and a schedule around exercising. For example, we may choose to run exercises or fire drills with the technical teams every quarter. And then during that quarter, we'll use the platform to upskill those teams for the gaps that we identified in the exercises. And that means over a 12-month period, we can show how the team have improved over time, relevant to industry averages. And, for example, if we're talking about the executives or the board, they might only run a digital tabletop once per year. as part of a board meeting. So it's getting the right cadence tailored to the right audience. Developers different again, where developers might only be able to sort of go through these exercises if they're found to be checking code that's vulnerable. So you can have this carrot and stick approach. So we work with companies. Every company is different. Every customer is different to work out what's right for them. Cybersecurity team especially, which is where the company was born out of, it's tying it into performance management, rewards, perks. For example, we're here at BlackHat today in Las Vegas. That's a common request if you're in a cyber team. Hey, I want to go to BlackHat and hear the latest threats. But actually, if we look at the data in the platform, we can see who's really interested in keeping up with the latest threats. And they'll probably get the most value from coming to a conference like this versus someone else who might maybe just want a trip to Vegas.
Yeah, well, you can't blame people for
not at all.
Expenses trip paid to Vegas. But no, awesome. And you literally last week, I believe, have announced your new initiative with the White House, which must be a pretty proud moment having your name and your company's name on a White House order. So talk us through that.
Yeah, it's one of the things we're really excited about at the moment. So when we started the company, we had something called our Digital Cyber Academy, which was to help upskill students and military veterans and caregivers and neurodiverse individuals into cyber. And now we formalised that into a program which we launched last month with one of our founding partners, Accenture. And obviously it got picked up as well by the White House. And this is our commitment to get 1 million people into entry-level cyber jobs over 10 years, free from bias. So the way we do this is anyone can use our platform for free from cybermillion.com. They can upskill themselves in cyber through these hands-on labs mapped to the NIST job roles. And then all of our partners and our customers can advertise these jobs in our platform. They can't actually click apply until they've unlocked the job by proving their skills. And that means our customers will only hear from people that have proven and upskilled themselves. And also because we store no personal data, around their background, academic background, certification or tenure, it's free from bias, and we hope to try and increase diversity in cybersecurity for entry-level roles.
Yeah, awesome. We are much smaller scale, but we've got a non-profit designed at helping exactly that. So we cover the candidates' CompTIA core certifications and then have a mentorship program. The biggest issue that we're finding with that program is still getting them the job at the end of it. So we don't charge for it. We aim to do it free. But finding hiring managers, security leaders who have the budget and the time to hire and train an entry-level person, really tough, even when they've got the skills. So what's your take on what needs to change and what can actually be done to get these people jobs?
Yeah, so the good news is it's a big ecosystem and there's lots of great initiatives and free training available to help upskill people. But it's very tricky to validate the hands-on skills of teams because a lot of the certification mechanism based on multiple choice and they've just done a course and it's all current. Whereas with our platform we can actually prove that they can do a job to a NIST standard for entry-level SOC tier 1, and that's the area. The biggest challenge isn't working with our cybersecurity leaders in our customers, it's actually them then broaching with HR, hey, we need to remove degree requirements from the job specifications, especially in the United States. It's a bit easier in EMEA. So it's working with our customers to help break down those barriers, work with HR teams about this as a source of diverse talent, and we need to remove traditional prerequisites to get them into jobs, and also having case studies. So one of my favourite case studies is Hamilton Capital, or a customer of ours, and they had a free license available within their platform that wasn't being used. And then the janitor wanted to get into cyber, coming through the SOC and seeing all the screens. So they gave the janitor the license to the platform. That person then upskilled themselves and then joined the cyber team and now works in a hands-on cyber role.
That's awesome. Those kinds of stories are exactly the reason we started our program. And there's just so many people trying to get into the industry that just can't get their break. So I love that this is a big step in the right direction.
Yeah, we see. I think I've yet to meet a customer chief security officer who isn't approached a lot of times going, "How do I get into cyber?" It's such a hard question to answer because there's this real breadth and depth of cybersecurity. So the whole thing about Immersive Labs and even our logo is we're a funnel. We put in hopefully tens of thousands of people we have signing up into the Cyber Million platform, and not all of those will have that natural passion to stick with the program, but those that do will be able to unlock jobs with the world's leading enterprises.
Does it also help them decide what area of cyber they'd like to go into? Because a lot of the people, and this is noise on LinkedIn, but a lot of the people trying to get into it is, I want to be a hacker, I want to be a pen tester, or I want to be a incident response firefighter. And actually they're not even necessarily the best jobs in cyber, and there's tens and tens and tens of other areas. So how does your platform help that side of things?
So for now, we're focusing on this sort of very broad role of cyber defense operations analyst as part of the infrastructure, and that covers what the cyber threats are, where they're coming from, but also the technical fundamentals that you need for any cyber job. So that's operating systems, command line, networking. You kind of need those fundamentals to then layer on the additional skills, and we focus on things like packet analysis, packet capture, security, incident response. Once they've got a job with one of our customers in the platform, it's kind of like a swimming pool approach. So we've got over 2,000 hands-on labs on the platform, ranging from how do you spell cyber to reverse engineering malware and custom exploit development. And people can start at the shallow end, wade in, or they can just jump straight in the deep end if they want as well. And the data helps our customers uncover, well, actually, I've got these individuals in a SOC Tier 1 role, but I can see in the evenings and the weekends, they're really smashing through malware forensics and analysis. We need to keep this person, and we need to get them into a Tier 2 role quickly before they churn out and go into another organization. So customers use the data in our platform to help identify talent and retain the right talent that has that natural passion to want to go into these areas.
Yeah, no, awesome. From the other firms I'm aware of doing, we're trying to tackle the same kind of security training space. It does sound unique. So yeah, good job. And coming back to Immersive Labs, so your US expansion is fairly recent, isn't it? The Boston expansion.
I think so. I think we opened the Boston office about 2019, or even late 2018. So we hired our first sales leader here, who then we opened the office. I used to fly over quite a lot. And then from there, we started our SDR team, our sales team, customer success team. So a lot of our go-to-market team are in North America, and a lot of our product R&D functions are still in the UK.
Yeah. And what were the challenges kind of growing a successful go-to-market org in the US for the first time?
So I think there's two major challenges, one of which is we're a new category of software. So people want to normally, or especially customers, want to pigeonhole you quite quickly because it's such a big ecosystem into endpoint detection, network detection, data loss. Whereas we're doing cyber workforce resilience, it's like, well, what's that? Is it know before? Is it phishing? We're like, it's definitely not that. And then when we show our customers, they're like, this is cool. This is really good. It's really different. So that was one of the challenges: is how do you build a whole sales team against something that is quite unfamiliar to them and requires that sort of training and upskilling, even in how they're going to position it in the market. I think the second thing is also as we've scaled and grown the company from I think initially in Boston we had like 5-10 people, we're now 340 globally. It's finding what I call the right stage of the right individuals and the leaders, because what was working for us in 2019, 2020 doesn't work in 22, 23 as you go through these growth levers and you go from first line manager to second line manager to third line managers, executives. So it's trying to find the right talent at the right time that's got the experience from your stage, because you learn so much through scaling. What you don't want to do is maybe have a team that haven't gone through that growth journey before. In fact, my chief people officer talks around having seen the movie before, having gone through this 4 times. And those scars and that muscle memory means that we can identify issues as they're coming up or before they come up. And I think that's one of the challenges as you scale a team.
Yeah. We, in particular, first kind of marketing leaders and first sales leaders, whether that's first for the whole company or whether that's first in a new region, if those hires are made wrong, you've potentially lost a year and a half, and it's killer.
Yeah, you have to sort of take these brave steps, which is acknowledging when it's the right time to help people be successful somewhere else, and in doing that, it creates a gap and a bit of a rebuild function, especially if the stage of the company's grown and the experiences of what's come in. So every time you change a function or you plan for the next stage of growth, it can stall a bit of that sales and marketing machine, because there's a bit of a rebuild that needs to go on and people are watching and waiting for what's going to happen, what's the style. So it kind of slows you down a bit, but then ultimately you've made the right decision when you start to see the acceleration again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we're at the kind of beginning of H2 2023. So what's in store for Immersive Labs this year, and what should people be excited to watch out for you guys?
So we've talked about Cyber Million already, which is obviously one of the things we're really excited about. The second thing is we're launching our platform in September, and this is because it's taken a number of years to get here, but we can now exercise the entire workforce. So we can exercise 100 or 200,000 non-technical employees about what they do in a particular scenario. So rather than counting training, like 100% of people did the training, we can now say, well, actually, we exercised 100,000 people, and what we identified was individuals in APAC have no confidence about how to report a security incident. So therefore, that's where we should invest going forward, rather than using like a peanut butter approach of spreading budget. Actually, what are the biggest risks in the organisation as it relates to the workforce? And that's part of the what's going live in September.
Yeah, awesome. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, and really looking forward to seeing the positive impact that the Cyber Millions program has. So thanks very much, James.
Thank you for having me. It's been a real pleasure.
We hope you've enjoyed this latest episode of CyberBytes, the podcast. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and tell your friends. If you want to explore being a guest or how Aspiron Search can help you build high-performing security and go-to-market teams, then get in touch on LinkedIn or info@aspironsearch.com.